Welcome back, and we are now going to change our episode. We are now going to be talking about, basically the death transition, or in other words, life after death. This has been a big question for many, and we're going to talk about that today and some other realms if there's time. So let's get right to it. So, these planes are physical but exist at frequencies of vibrations. Different from that of this plane, the more basic planes are sometimes referred to as the spirit world, the lower realms as the hells, as we mentioned earlier, and the higher realms as the heavenly realms, or the higher mental realms. Those are the heavens. The realm we end up on after death depends on how we lead our lives here in this world, but this is not so much about punishment or reward as in some religions, as about the law of karma giving us the experiences we need in order to advance spirituality. We are naturally drawn to whichever realm we are most suited to. We are not sent there by anyone else. This is a process that lies entirely in the hands of each of us. So let's talk about the realms, shall we? And the how the transition works. For the other realms, after death, you go to a realm to which intelligences go who are waiting for further instruction. Now, this applies to most people upon Earth today. It does not apply to the enlightened person who can bypass this realm, but it applies to most people. It does not apply either to the evil person, such as a black magician. The average person goes to this realm, where they are cared for by intelligences who have given themselves the task of looking after people who die without any realization of what is after death. He would stay there for a certain length of time, which could be 15 minutes or even a year. Every case is judged individually. Then he goes on to another realm, which he deserves to inhabit. It depends on how he has lived his life. If he was a selfish person, for example, he would not go to a very high realm, right? But there he would gain further experience, living much as he lived upon earth, though hopefully not in such a selfish fashion. He would live there for a certain length of time. And again, you cannot be dogmatic about how long, as time is different on the other realms anyway. Then he would go to the hall of self-judgment, where he would judge himself. Now this is very important. No one judges us, but we judge ourselves. We become our own judge and jury. He will then await reincarnation upon earth, with the help of advisors, of course. He will choose his mother and father. That is how we pick our parents. We get to pick who we want to live with. That is very important. So choose wisely, as I would always say. So he would choose his mother and father anyway, and the exact time and environment to come back in order to give him certain lessons. So for me, I picked my own parents. I thought, it would be nice to learn from this. Live in Newfoundland, etc., etc. And that was my own decision. So, once I choose my parents and the environment I want to go to come back in order to give the certain lessons, which these advisors coupled with his own higher consciousness will predetermine. Then he will live upon earth, die again, go again to the other realms, and so the cycle will go on and on and on until he no longer needs to reincarnate upon earth. The other realms are more mental than this physical plane. Mental manifestation is easier there than it is here. Here, we get an idea, and then we have to physically work out that idea. Upon all but very basic realms, you could get an idea and build that idea out of a mind substance. Whether it be a temple on the higher realms, or, in the case of the lower astral realms, a vicious weapon. In years of psychic research and communication with people who actually live on other realms, I have learned that they tend to remember either to communicate with the other people, and they actually remember very small things which are unimportant, or they can remember the very important things which happen in their life. Memory does exist, and it is possible, for instance, for a relative who has passed away to recognize their existing relatives on this earth. When these relatives also pass away, they would recognize one another and clearly remember their relationship. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, we are going to talk about more on the realms here. There's lots more to talk about other realms. So don't go away. Enjoy some of this music, and when we come back, we'll talk some more. And welcome back. We have 3 minutes left on this for part 1. And we continue our topic on the death transition, or life after death. We're talking about other realms. So guides are intelligences who have reached a certain stage, not always a very high stage, and have given themselves the task of looking after individuals and groups of individuals on this earth. Some of them are quite advanced, but the majority are not anywhere near the yoga adept stage. So generally, communication with guides through a medium, unless the medium has had several lives of strict discipline, then it is very poor. You may get something like 75% of the medium and 25% of the guide. A medium who has had 10 or 15 years strict yoga training in his life may get 25% medium and 75% guide. There have been rare cases when the ratio is 98% guide and 2% medium. A very evolved guide could not use a medium unless they were themselves very evolved. If a very evolved guide was to try to get his thought impulses through the average brain, such a guide would do physical damage to the medium in order for any medium to bring a guide through who is a master. That medium would at least have to be an adept. When we come back, we'll have episode number 2.
You work and work for years and years. You're always on the go. You never take a minute off. Too busy making dough. Someday you say you'll have your fun when you're a millionaire. Imagine all the fun you'll have in your old rocking chair. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. You're gonna take that ocean trip, no matter come what may. You've got your reservations made, but you just can't get away. Next year for sure you'll see the world. You'll really